Hello everybody. It is March 25th and the time is 11:36. I want to do this video on the spiritual battle that we are in. Okay? It's a real deal, you guys. And listen, these spiritual attacks, you know, I mean, we get attacked. Most of you have been experiencing it probably at night while you're sleeping. But the more you become spiritually awakened and what's happening, seeing the truth, what's really happening, becoming aware. You know how it says, don't let these days come upon you unaware. Okay? Many are willingly ignorant. Willingly ignorant. Okay, now when Jesus was crucified on the cross and he revealed himself in his crucified body to his disciples, okay, then a few days later he appeared again. Well, those guys were coming back from fishing, Peter and them, and he hollered from the shore, "Young men, have you caught anything?" They said, "Nothing." And he said, "Cast your nets out on the right side and you'll catch some." And they caught 153 and the nets didn't even break. And one disciple that Jesus loved the most, he said, "It is the Lord." Peter put on his outer garment and jumped right in the water, man. He's going after him, you know. And because remember now, Peter probably felt worse because he denied him 3 times. Okay, that he even knew him, and knowing who he was, okay, now, and then Jesus told him that he would, and he said, don't be overcome with it, but, you know, it would hurt just to know that somebody that you loved denied you 3 times. And Jesus said, if you deny me, I'll deny you, okay? Well, anyhow, he appeared, and when they all came to the shore, because Peter waited, when he didn't recognize them, Peter didn't walk up there. He waited for them to show up. Because he was thinking, man, he told me it was the Lord. You know, wait till he comes up here. Let's see what he says. Then they all come walking up to him. And he told them, he said, bring some of the fish that you caught. And they did. They went and got it. And they came back. And they took in... Don't get behind me, man, whatever you do. They took in, they got some of the fish that they caught, and then they, brought it to him like they said. And they said they knew that it was the Lord. And they didn't dare ask him. They didn't dare ask him because they knew that it was the Lord. And, thank you, Lord. That's when he asked Peter 3 times. You know, he goes, do you love me? He goes, you know that I do, Lord. And then he asked him again, Simon, son of John, do you love me? And he said, you know that I do. And then he asked him a 3rd time. Because remember, he denied him 3 times. And each time he told him, take care of my lambs, take care of my lambs. And, you know, today, this is a spiritual battle, okay? Now, they knew that that was Jesus, but he was in a different body. He was hosting another body. Now, what I want to tell you guys, when you get these nasty scoffers mocking and saying bad things against you and stuff like that, you've probably seen them on my channel a lot, I'm sure. They've got videos they're making about me out there. They really don't like me, you know, but that's just, you know, because of the Lord. You know, my calling. I'm doing what I'm called to do. Okay? And I've been fully warning people. But not only have I been warning them, I'm trying to make them aware of what the Lord made his disciples aware of. he revealed himself in his resurrected body. Then he revealed himself in another body. In other words, and he said in Ephesians, this is a spiritual battle. Okay, our spirits, and they can literally come and go as they please. And our body is the temple of the Lord. We're not to defile it. Okay. Now, remember a while back I told you I had a dream. Okay. Now listen, I've been attacked in the real world that you see here, and I've also been attacked in the spiritual realm as well while you're sleeping. Okay, now that you're probably noticing that they're getting worse. The attacks are at a higher level than ever before. And I heard somebody the other day say that it was actually happening at their workplace. Okay, which I'm not surprised, because I told you guys my business was destroyed, totally destroyed. But I was warning people too, and I mean, everything I knew, I couldn't help it. Every bid that I gave, I was talking about it. You know what I mean? And I had such a an overwhelming man. Like, I can't help it. You know what I mean? I just can't help it. I'm drawn to it. It's like I can't help it. If somebody calls me for an estimate, I'm going to go there and bid the job, but I'm also going to tell them what time it is. Listen, you don't get that angel blowing a trumpet over your head if you don't have a passion. And I got this passion, and that's why that angel's blowing that trumpet over my head. I ask you, how many people have you seen with an angel blowing a trumpet over their head? But I'm also telling you this, the physical and the spiritual aspects of this warfare that's going on, okay? When people are attacking you in the physical, scoffing at you, remember, it's not that person that you think it is. It's what's hosting that person. Okay? Like Jesus appeared in another body, okay, when he came in and hosted that person. But remember this, Jesus used to remove spirits, and those spirits knew who he was. And they said, "You are the Son of God. Are you here to torment us before our time?" You know, in other words, the time wasn't yet. He ain't supposed to be here yet doing this. And he would remove spirits from him. And then he would warn people, sin no more, something worse can happen. You know, all the answers are in the written word of God. Okay, you see that spirit fly by? It was at about 7:40, something like that. But all the answers are in the written word of the Bible, okay? Now, our dreams. Now, I want to tell you something. I seen a pair of teeth like this, okay? Now, and there was an Indian standing by it. And I asked him, I said, what is, and it said USA on top of it, okay? On top of the teeth. Now, if you look at it, I asked him, I said, what does that mean? What does that mean? And he told me America was going to be chomped, like chomped, bitten into, bit. You know, like it's chomped. That's what he said. It was an Indian. He said America's going to be chomped. Okay, they don't always speak like what we would speak, you know, chomped. I should probably looked up the word chomped, C-H-O-M-P-E-D, chomped. C-H-O-M-P-E-D. That's what he said. America is going to be chomped. Now, you know how when Jesus was pierced on the, below his ribs, and he said blood and water will come out, and that my streams of flowing water will come from within me, and stuff like that? Now look at what they're putting bottled water on now. See how it's called life water? And it's got the one eye between the circle. You guys know the one eye on the $1 bill. I mean, everything's right now right where it's supposed to be. Now, if you notice, it's got multiple colors like the rainbow, perverted lifestyle. Listen, it's so wickedy, you know. It's very wicked. And you know, if you look at the earth from up top, the way the streets are all lined out, the houses and everything, where the city is and everything around it, kind of looks like a spider's web. Like a spider's web. And people are the subjects in that spider's web. Like they're all caught in a web of deceit. A web of lies. Okay? That's what this is. And that's why Jesus said, I encourage you to buy gold and silver from me. Okay? I encourage you to buy gold and silver from me. And I just got through sharing with some people inside there, and people don't want to know it. They don't want to know. One lady actually told me, she goes, yeah, I know it's the end of time. You know, I can tell. She goes, but I don't like to talk about it. And I'm like, well, you know, you're gonna deal with it. Whether you want to talk about it or not, it's gonna come about. And you know what's written in there, and I could tell she just didn't want to hear what I had to say, you know. But I felt, you know, she's probably got that spirit in her, you know what I mean? And they're happier, willingly ignorant, what it says in the Word of God. Okay. I try to tell people now the spiritual battle, okay, don't be surprised if you don't start seeing it. I mean, to me, I see it. I've been dealing with it for a few years now. But I've dealt with it in a harder way than probably most people have experienced it out there. And I'm not saying it boastfully, trust me, man, because it ain't been fun. I've experienced it in a more higher level than most people, and that's because of what the Lord has revealed to me. Okay, when I seen him, he revealed himself to me, but it was his backside as he went around the corner, and he was smiling at me. Okay, probably because he already knows everything from the beginning to the very end, and he knew. See, we chose this before we even came here in the spirit. He's known us, and he knew that I was willing to go through this because of my love for him. But remember, he loved us first, okay? But he also knows my love for him is very real, and that's why I am where I am, and everything's been happening like it's been happening. But he's with me, too, through this. But it's a spiritual battle. But I want to tell you, the biggest thing that you got to have in this battle is faith and awareness, okay? Remember, it's written in the Bible, it says, don't let these days come upon you unaware, okay? And faith, you got to believe. And listen, I'm not here to lie to you or try to deceive you. I'm just here to tell you what time it is and what's getting ready to happen. Now, in escalates, I've read this before. I'm going to mention this again for new people that may not have seen the other video. I don't know. But here in escalates, chapter 12, the span of life. Well, I'm going to go up to the whole duty of man, okay? It starts at 9. Verse 9, the whole duty of man. Now, Daniel McNeil, if you're seeing this, you said nines. You've seen something to do with the nines. Well, I've been seeing a lot of nines lately, okay? And I believe this means we're just getting closer to what we're getting ready to see. I also had a dream about Archangel Michael standing up, where it speaks about in Daniel 12:1. I seen that happening night before last. I seen him where he stood up very quickly, and his heart was beating. His heart was beating like he had a strong passion for what he's about to do. Okay, and this is getting ready to happen. Okay, so we need to be ready for this. Now, the whole duty of man, verse 9 in chapter 12. Okay, and escalates. All right, and moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed, and sought out, and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright. even words of truth. The word of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the master of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further, by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books, there is no end. In other words, you know, people in their lives here, when you start making books, it's about people. It's about worldliness. And the devil's the ruler of this world. That's why I said there's no end to it. I told you how I had him try to write a book about me, wanting to write a book about me. And I refused it. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I knew what time it was. You know, my eyes were wide open. I've been watching since 2001. And I've seen everything. And each year was worse than the year before. And in 2012, I seen that black spirit rise out of the water at the Greek Orthodox Church cross dive. It's about 4:30 in the morning, and it was wearing a Spanish sombrero hat, rised up out of the water. And what does it say? We must be born of spirit and water. And it rised out of the water that morning where they were going to throw the cross dive. Well, that morning they ended up throwing 2 in, and lo and behold, the first cross that was tossed in was not found, so they threw a second one in. The second one floated on top. It didn't even sink. The first one sank. The second one floated, and they accepted that one to the person that found it. Well, somebody else was still looking for that first one, and he found it, but he didn't find it until after the second one. Well, they accepted the second one, and then the first one was considered to be second because it wasn't found until after. You see what I'm saying? Like a twist. Like things are twisted. Number one, you shouldn't be throwing crosses in the water saying whoever gets it is blessed. That's the first mistake. Okay, this is the Greek Orthodox Church. And then these guys are kissing the cross like it's an idol. Okay? God's spirit. Okay? We worship him in spirit. And the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And nobody comes to the Father except through the Son, Jesus Christ. And it's by his blood are we even redeemed and found without spot or blemish. Okay? Now, and it says there is no end for all these books, okay? And I wasn't interested in it. They knew it. Anyhow, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. Keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Let me tell you, for God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Let me tell you guys something. When it comes to, and it says, don't let these days come upon you unaware. Okay? This is the end. The very end. You may not have much more time for an opportunity than you do right now to either shine the brightest or to you're gonna, I guarantee you, when this is all said and done, you'll wish that you would have done it a little different. You'll wish you would have put a little bit more, you could have done something better. You know what I mean? Remember everything it says in here. These are the important times, okay? Because this is where you're going to see spiritual attacks, more in the physical. But really, it's a spiritual battle. Even though you're feeling it in the physical world, whether it be on your job or wherever you're going, thoughts that come to your mind, okay? But they're going to be more overpowering than you ever believed that they could be. Okay, because you got to remember this. The devil knows his time is short. Okay? And there's a curse on this land now. And God's the ruler of this place. And his will, everything that's written in here, it's going to happen exactly. Devil don't want it to. He's going to try hard to make sure it don't happen. But if you think for 1 minute that this isn't going to happen exactly as it's written, because God's the author and the finisher, okay? all these other books and stuff like that, man, I'm going to tell you, we shouldn't be reading but this one book. This book is a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a mystery, man. You can read it, reread it. I've learned more in this book now than what I understood, before in the past. I took a Bible study class a long time ago. And not to get to, I just wanted to learn my purpose in life. I just had a desire to learn. I felt there's something more to this life. And which there is. And then lo and behold, man, all this started happening. And everything happens for a reason, you guys. And have you ever experienced deja vu? When I told you I killed those 2 snakes in 2001 when the Twin Towers were knocked down. One morning it was right there in front of my coffee pot. And then I killed it and threw it out back. Then the next morning it was sitting in the exact same spot. It felt like deja vu. It's the same snake sitting in the same position. I mean, I couldn't have, if I would have went and I put that snake there, I couldn't have made that snake stay there in the same spot if I did it deliberately. That's when it felt like deja vu to me. And I was like, wait a minute, man. This ain't right. Something's not right. I said, I know I did this yesterday. I did this yesterday. I know I did. But I had to think about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, it was like, this is not possible. And then I noticed every year, that's when the Twin Towers got knocked down. This is a spiritual battle, you guys. That's what I'm saying. You want to choose right now. You want to choose what's right now. Jesus, remember the words, what he said. You can't serve 2 masters. And the devil's the ruler of this world. Okay? So everybody getting up, going to work every day, many people, whether you want to admit it or not, most people are following what's in the world. They're not following. That's where your lanterns are going to be either half filled or half empty. I don't know what it is. But you can't serve 2 masters. Okay? When I had that dream where I was lifting away, I seen where a bungee cord was pulling. And that's only one thing that could mean is people are following what's in the world. And their lanterns are half filled. That's what that means. So you need to really consider. I'm going to say, people out there, if you can't afford to and you're just working, I'd be careful what you're doing. If you're doing something and you feel in your heart it ain't right, and you're getting commissions just trying to sell, flip something, do something, everybody else is doing it, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I would choose to do what was right. If something don't feel right, don't do it. Now I'm going to say that, okay? Now if I had the money, now I didn't have the money, but I took and started living in my truck like this. I traveled and did the best I could do with what I had. And it only got me so far. This last year, I've been like needing people that's helped me, and I've made it this far. But if you had the money, a 401k or something like that, and if you truly know this is the end, what is it that you keep going to work for? I would definitely be working doing this. But I'm going to say right now, I don't think you got much time to do it if you chose to do it. I really don't think so, because we're that close to getting ready to go. I've seen, like I told you about, where that dog ran into that, jumped over that python's head, and then got stuck in the mud. It was a creek bed. It was a river bed, but it was all muddy. And then the dog got stuck in the mud, and it was trying to get out of there. And that python came after it and bit it in its hind legs. And then the dog turned around and snapped at it. And then it got out and it started coming back around towards me. And then when it got out of the mud, it instantly turned into a black horse. And it was on its 2 hind legs. And that's when I woke up from it. Now, that told me it was getting ready to come down. And when it hits the ground, You know what I'm saying? It's going to hit the ground and it's going to take off running. And that's the horse of famine. And people here ain't going to be ready for it. They're not going to be ready for it. Everybody's taking everything for granted. They're not paying attention. They don't believe. It's going to be happening. War, all these things are going to be happening back to back. That's why Jesus said some are the foolish. 5 were foolish. Okay? In other words, their lanterns weren't full. If he separated you to see what's going on, listen, man, my eyes, when he separated and showed me what I knew, I didn't have to think about it. I knew this is what I had to do. Okay? I knew it. You know? And yeah, I had some high-paying job offers, but I knew that was trying to distract me. The devil wants everybody he can get. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. You think about what Jesus did on that cross. You know, I mean, ain't it worth doing whatever it takes to show how much love we have for him? Isn't it worth it? You know what I mean? We don't want to have any regrets now. This is the last time. You don't want no regrets now. Okay? I don't know what else to tell you, you know. This is not the time, you know. This is getting ready to come over to an end. You know, I told you I seen that black horse rising. Well, that morning, that was at about 4 in the morning. I ended up going back there laying down at about 5:30 in the morning, 6, something like that, for another hour and a half. Well, that's why I had that dream about Archangel Michael, where what I seen was him stand really fast. Like stand up really fast in front of me, and he had a gold, solid, smooth gold plate on, chest plate on, smooth, and it wrapped around him, you know, around his back, and it went over his shoulders, but it was all solid right here, and his stomach was exposed, but, you know, it was a breastplate, like, but it went around his back. And he had long kind of blonde hair, you know, but he stood up, and I could, even though this was a solid chest piece, I could like see through it, and I could see his heart beating like it was real strong, like he was getting ready to do something, like he had a passion for it. In other words, you know, if you read Daniel 12, you know, what he's going to do, you don't want to be in his way. Because what he's going to do, it's all going to happen very quickly. You know, this is the time to, you know, make your choice and don't have any regrets about it, okay? Don't have any regrets about it. You know, especially if you want to call yourself a watchman. And then you're going to sit there and choose what's in the world. You know, that don't make sense. If you say you're a watchman, and if you don't, and you know these are the end times. See, I know these are the end times. I have no doubt about it. And I'm certain this is going to be the year. The dreams that he showed me and everything told me this is it. We're getting ready to go anytime. I've seen where I turned into a orb and I flew off really fast. Twice I seen this. And this was after he showed me those decals faded away. This was before I even had them. And it happened just like he showed me. Now he showed me the changing into an orb. So this is getting ready to happen now. Okay? It could happen any time. 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 weeks to 2 months. I'm feeling it's like at hand. That's what I'm feeling. That black horse with the famine. Listen, people are going to loot and steal stuff from these grocery stores when it hits the fan. Crops are going to fail. God's in control of everything. And people have no idea just how, you know, our blessings are where we reap what we sow. Let me tell you something. He blesses us with food. If you take this food away, all these things that everybody holds and they hold dear, like it's all that, what do you think it's really worth? What do you think this stuff's going to be worth if you ain't got nothing to eat? No food. You could have all the gold in the world. What good is it if you ain't got enough food to eat? See, that's all he's got to do is cut your food out. And all these things, you'll drop them right, they'll waste away. You'll drop them on the side, You know, the prettiest outfit ain't going to look good on you, man, if you're starving to death. You know, the prettiest car ain't going to do you a bit of good if you're starving to death. If you got a tank full of gas, if you got 1 million gallons of gas and you got a fleet of cars, ain't going to do you a bit of good if you're starving to death. You know? People have no idea what they're dealing with. Okay? I seen that black horse famine. This is all getting ready to happen, man. People, you know, they're popping out kids, man, like it's going out of style. They literally do not see what's getting ready to happen. You know? I seen that window shut, and this is it. You know? Listen, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to upload this, you guys. I'm just saying, this is the time. You want to make sure you make the right choice. You want to make the right choice, because you don't want to be regretting it later, wishing you would have. God bless you guys. I hope and pray that you get something out of these messages.